Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue or Southeast Asia TV. This year, Cambodia is chairing ASEAN, and there's so many things happening in town. Summit, Foreign Minister meeting, Economic Minister meeting. But this week we have a big symposium in town, organized by area and the Royal Government in collaboration with Harvard University. And I had, on an extremely short notice, the pleasure to have Professor Kriengsak Cherangwongsak to come and share with us a bit about his perspective on, what can I say, ASEAN as a center of growth and production hub, something along that line. So, Professor, welcome.
Dr. Sok, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes. Professor, why don't I give you a few minutes to let you introduce yourself a bit so that the audience have a good feeling where you're coming from.
Sure, I'm a Thai.
Yes.
I was educated in Thailand until high school. I studied in US.
Yes.
Then I studied in 3 continents in university.
Yes.
In Australia at Monash University,
yes,
and Melbourne University. In Britain, in Cambridge and Oxford.
Yes.
And in US
yes,
at Harvard University.
Yes.
Then I have a privilege to be in so many careers simultaneously,
yes,
sometimes sequentially.
Yes.
I am academia, of course, professors of economics and strategy, and also I am in business.
Yes.
I set up a lot of companies,
wow,
both in Thailand and
yes,
overseas. Sit in as director in some companies that come from Silicon Valley, listed
wow,
in some public stock exchange in some countries, and cover the globe. And also in politics, I have been privileged to serve my country as member of parliament.
Yes.
And also advisor to Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, advisor to many ministers, and head of the President of the National Assembly, Parliament, and so on. So I'm privileged to be involved in,
yes,
in the politics, in academia,
yeah,
in business.
Well, Professor, I thought you were talking about me.
And
I think
we together. Oh, good.
I think we share similar, very similar background.
And this setting, they put me down here as senior fellow of Harvard
yes,
University.
yes,
So here I'm here doing this conference.
Yes.
Because they would like me to share,
yes,
something from my perspective,
yes,
an economist,
mm-hmm,
about ASEAN,
yes,
which is very
indeed,
dear to our hearts.
Indeed. Well, Professor, you know, you gave a very good and convincing presentation at the symposium, Can ASEAN be a center of growth and production hub? To a lot of people, we say, okay, ASEAN 2015, we're going to have one single production base, that sort of thing, is a great idea. But, you know, realistically, you know, you think we can do it?
I think we can. In
yes,
fact, we have a huge advantage over many other regions
okay,
of the world. Not
yes,
to negate their
yes,
importance,
yes,
not to say how far have they come as well.
Yes.
But we have tremendous history.
Yes.
ASEAN is not something which is new.
Yes.
It has been with us for many decades,
yeah,
for 40 plus years,
okay,
almost 50 years history. Transformed itself slowly,
yes,
evolving into a free trade regions, and also is moving now to the ASEAN community,
yes,
with 3 major pillars.
Okay.
The economic pillar, the political security pillar, the
yeah,
socio-cultural pillar.
yes.
Therefore, ASEAN has a long history. And when you are long enough,
yes,
you know,
yes,
you have learned a lot of things,
yes,
how
exactly,
to work together.
Well, if you're in the 50, you should learn something.
You should learn
yes,
something.
yes.
And it has not only a vision internal,
yes,
it's an open regional kind of a setting,
yes,
where it's reaching out to the rest of the world,
yes,
slowly but surely to many areas.
Yes.
And that makes ASEAN really unique hub,
yes, yes,
because it's reaching out to other countries like Japan, China,
yes, yes,
India, ASEAN plus 3, Korea, ASEAN plus 6, and other kind of setting like East Asia
yes,
Summit,
yes,
that kind of thing. So ASEAN is very unique in that sense. That's why I think it's promising, because it's so well integrated to a level. It's moving into higher and deeper integration.
Yes.
It has a vision where all countries
yes,
are taking it
yes,
together with commitment. It also has proven record
yes,
that it has grown.
Yes.
Not only in terms of each country is growing economically, and also the size of economics,
Yeah.
but also internally among themselves. We trade among ourselves, we invest among ourselves. So it's a region that is
Yes.
very much not only growing internally, but also growing
Yes.
externally.
Yes.
And it's very, very powerful because the record of growth.
Yes, yes. But Professor, you know, I can't help but going back, a big flashback to some 10 years ago when at that time, you know, we're not that integrated yet, and then ASEAN leader have commissioned McKinsey. That time with ASEAN competitive report, right? I remember 2001, 2002, something like this. But the message, you know, that come out very clear in those days was that, look, either ASEAN get organized, build a real building block, if not, we will not survive China.
Yes.
Now, we are now doing that, right? And I see, as you mentioned, that we're now the center of growth, a pole. We are pulling China as a partner rather than being threatened by China with smash. What do you think
I
of
think
that?
it's a positive approach.
Yes.
And we are unique because we are not too big to threaten China.
Yes, yes.
Nor threaten India.
Yes.
And because we are so unique and we're friendly, ASEAN in a way, China is willing to engage us.
Yes.
After all, China probably have some historical problems with say, Japan.
Yes, yes.
Historical problem with India.
Yes.
How could the big guns get together without some small gun
Yes,
try to
yes.
link them?
With Korea as well.
With Korea too, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
therefore, I think ASEAN therefore uniquely equipped to be able to play that kind of bridge.
Yes.
You know, that bridge that bridges everybody
Yes,
together.
yes, yeah.
And ASEAN have done it marvelously well because each of our
Is that
countries,
because the ASEAN way?
see, the ASEAN have some very charming way.
Yes, yes.
We are not in a way aggressively, you know, trying to move forward in our own agenda without take regard for other people.
Exactly.
We have
The
the
consensus,
ASEAN soft way.
Yes,
The
yes.
ASEAN more amicable way.
Yes, yes.
The ASEAN willingness
Yes,
to
yes.
cooperate,
Yes.
to be patient with one another.
I see.
And the hospitality
Yes, indeed,
of the
indeed.
ASEAN people.
Yeah. Professor, production hub, what do you mean by that? Of course, you know, in many ASEAN countries, Thailand is the largest producer of car, for example, right? Japanese car, for example, right? So, are you talking about the sort of industrialized production hub in the region, you know, in Thailand, in Malaysia, something
You know,
like
I
this?
would like to see that is extended to
Yes.
beyond just the industrial production.
Okay, okay.
It could be agricultural
All right,
production.
okay.
It could be service.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, and
Okay. So
comprehensive.
production here is not
just
limited
not
to
manufacturing.
Okay, okay.
It have to take into account
Yes.
everything ASEAN is really
Yes,
standing for,
yes,
and we have
okay.
a big, very, very big agricultural
Agriculture,
base.
you're right, you're right.
Therefore, all these things can come in.
Yes.
And this production network,
Yes.
which is happening in ASEAN and also extended worldwide
Yes.
in a way,
Yes.
despite the world which is not quite free fully yet, some distortion is happening, yes, but
Yeah.
more or less, whoever are coming together in a more integrated
Yes.
way have a better chance to be able to be part of the production chain
Yes, yes.
in a niche that is very unique. And ASEAN is doing
Yes.
just that.
I can help but looking a bit from the legal angle, mainly because I'm a lawyer. And I see that, you know, before the big legal firm are all Western firm, for example. But now I see in the recent years a lot emerging of ASEAN firm, you know, collaborating, and certainly they become very powerful. They can tack on the big boy as well. And this is probably something I'm glad you mentioned. A production hub is not necessarily industrial. It can move to service, engineering, architecture, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it is happening.
Yes,
And
it's
in fact,
happening.
it
It's
has to
happening,
happen.
right?
Because the weight of gravity is slowly
Yes.
shifting to the east, right?
Yes.
And ASEAN is part of the very major
Yes.
part of the east.
Yes.
And you can see evidentially clear that we're going to have a heavier weight more and more along the way.
Okay.
Not to neglect our Western
Yes,
friends,
yes, yes.
but we have to play our role.
Yes.
And we're having that chance.
Yes. would you see that now in the context of a Europe who's living difficulty, financial crisis, unemployment, you know, social growth diminishing, that sort of thing? Do you see them coming to our region more as a competitor?
In fact, I do see them as collaborators.
A collaborator, yes. Yes.
You know, the world has a place for everyone.
Yes.
You know, if we talk in terms of even Adam Smith,
yes,
the absolute advantage concept,
yes,
or even Ricardo, David
yes,
Ricardo,
yeah,
the relative, you know, comparative
yes,
advantage. Every one of us have a place to be. It depends on where we are,
yes,
at least relatively.
Yeah, yeah.
And therefore, ASEAN has its place. You know, where historically the European has been powerful.
Yes.
They still have their role to play, even though they are going through some very major
yes,
difficulties,
yes,
and that implies many more years of
yes,
difficulties. But they will swing back eventually,
yes, indeed.
and we will be together.
Like anything else, what come up must come down, and then it's a pendulum swing, you know.
Yeah.
But hopefully by then, ASEAN will be quite as strong and secure.
You know, by
mature.
that time, ASEAN would be far different from what we are today.
Exactly.
And I think I can see the acceleration that
yes,
could happen.
Yes, yes.
And the picture of ASEAN that we are thinking today may be very different from in the longer future.
Yes, yes. Where do you see the people talk a lot about ASEAN centrality from the political sense, right? And here we talk about centrality also from the economic sense, the production sense. Do you think that we can play, you know,
you know, I think we are
centrality role?
unique in the centrality.
Yes.
And I throw a concept at a conference in a unique way for sometimes in my writing, but now in the conference I said, you know, if you look at the globe like a big orange, and you slice, you know, from top down and sideways, you'll find that you slice sideways, ASEAN is right in the equator area. You know the ASEAN, right? It's very middle, central.
Yes.
When you slice from top down, you can slice anywhere you like, in the Pacific, in the Atlantic, in America. But you know, if you slice through ASEAN, the middle of ASEAN, you'll find you will be in the middle of majority of the humanities.
Yes.
I use the illustration that you fly 2 hours from the centrality of ASEAN, 3 hours, 4 hours, even 6 hours. You cover huge majority of almost all mankind. And therefore ASEAN centrality geographically is very important. Geopolitics, is very important.
You know, I cannot help when to mention the what you call the brick jam. I heard about the brick, but not the brick jam.
Yes, it's my invention.
Okay, so you have to tell me about the brick jam.
Let me tell you, I throw this
because I heard about the brick. I said, wow, brick jam. What is that?
Yes, you know, I thrown a concept some years back, and lately I spoke in a major international conference called World Chinese Economic Congress in Malaysia. Where so many leaders are there, and I say, why not? During the crisis of the Western world today, we need some kind of more engine of growth that is called a coalition of new kind, a new economic pole. You know, that can be of weight. I throw this acronym called BRICS Jam.
Brick jam,
Purposefully. It's like when you have many bricks, you have jam like the cementing factor to keep the bricks together.
You're right.
And it gives you a good image. So you have jam, and these are the countries. B is Brazil, R is Russia, I is India, C is China. K is South Korea, S is South Africa. And then you have J at Japan. A is ASEAN.
Us.
And us. And M is Middle Eastern, the Gulf state particularly. So you see clearly that you are collecting all the major economic powers outside the Western world together to help the world during this period where the world the Western world are going through severe crisis. And we know how to work together, and ASEAN is the middle of it as a hub. And how powerful it can be.
You're right, and in fact, if during this difficult time, you know, ASEAN can be a place where they can, European company can look at it as a source of growth. This is also our way to also help back.
Definitely, it's a payback.
It's
in
a
a way,
payback,
you know,
exactly.
To our friends who are in the
win-win,
Western world.
You know, they invest in our country, they bring capital technology in a thriving market. In return, they bring back.
They rejuvenate their own economy.
Exactly.
And their capital has to be parked somewhere.
And then they buy more product from us.
Yes.
So it's a win-win. Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah, so it's something that I do not think the West will object.
Yes.
During this period when they are
Yes.
going through severe difficulty.
Yes, yes.
I think this is the right time. It takes the commitment of head of states
Yes.
and heads of governments
Yes.
to be able to come to think together and say,
Yes.
hey, what about BRICS Jam?
Yes.
Is there a possibility? Instead of thinking so small, let's collect all the powerhouse
Yes.
of the different continents. And here we cover all the continents.
Yes. You know, I'm quite keen to see how the 9 Asia-Europe Summit, which is going to take place in Vientiane in the first week of November. And there's going to be a lot of talk about partnership, you know, Asia-Europe partnership. But I think the gist of it will be more how do we help secure each other's source of growth? Because ultimately it's all about source of growth.
Yeah.
Right? And we could be that region that can provide that opportunity.
Yes, I think so. And in fact, you know, bright spots in the world are limited these days.
Yes, yes.
You know, despite China slowing down a little, India are not growing as fast as we love it to be, but it's growing. Both are still growing compared to the West. They're doing marvelously well.
Yes, yes.
But compared to themselves, they don't do as well as they used to.
Yes.
But you know, ASEAN has shown promising sign as a very bright region where the average growth is doing well in the present and the past and the future.
Yes.
The forecast for the 2017, for example, the ASEAN region will be the brightest spot in the entire globe.
Professor, I always want to see both sides of the fence, right? You know, both sides of the picture is the same coin. What would be if we have to prioritize in terms of challenge, right? You know, yes, we have a lot of opportunity with the centrality of it, but you know, nonetheless, ASEAN is still a grouping of sovereign nations. Where do you see the challenge to make sure that we harness the synergy among ourselves and to secure all that thing that is so promising?
You know, there is we have to recognize this, that we are too small to be on our own.
Okay.
I have said this very clearly every time that there are 7 billion people in the world.
Yes.
Each one of us in the 10 ASEAN nations are not big enough on our own.
Yeah.
You know, despite some are bigger than others.
Not big enough to threat people, not big enough to attract people.
To be on our own.
Yeah, exactly.
And therefore we are brothers. We need to be together.
Yes.
And we have to be close brothers.
Yes.
We have to be harmonious brothers. We must be together in a real way.
Yes.
To be 600 million people, half the size of India, almost half the size of China, so that we could be a new CIA. You know, China, India and ASEAN.
You're very good at acronym.
Yes. By doing that, you just imagine 1.2 billion, 1.4 billion. That's 2.6 billion plus 3.2 billion. About half the size of the world, just the three blocks. You know, 2 countries and ASEAN. And plus, if you have plus some more around the centrality I mentioned, you see we are very, very important in linking together. Therefore, I just want the political commitment.
Political commitment.
The willingness, the political will to push through, to see that we have to give in a little to our brother.
Yes.
You know, sovereignty is something all of us are very much love and care for, but to work together, you have to give in a little, you know, so that we could really work together, and the price is worth paying for.
Exactly.
It will make us be integrated in a real way, not just a ASEAN that come together, but like silo with some bridges, but it will be seamless.
Yes.
And the more seamless it is, the more the little hurdles anyone has to go through, ASEAN become very, very much one, one community, one destiny, like what Prime Minister Hun Sen has been willing to advocate.
That's our theme, you know. As one destiny mean we go together.
We have to go together.
Yeah, it's a will, we go together.
So if our brothers, our ASEAN brothers countries are doing well, we do well too.
Exactly.
So together, if that is, so what I'm worrying about is the political will. You know why? Because I'm sympathetic.
Yes.
I know politics. I've been member of parliament. I have advised prime ministers. So I know that, you know, the pressure is very heavy. Every time you try to do some reform, do some restructuring,
Yes.
There's some benefiting people and those who are not.
Yes.
And usually those who are not benefiting and need to adjust
Yes,
would
exactly.
have some problems.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
net gain is always
Yes,
positive.
exactly,
We
exactly.
How do we cope with all those people who are disadvantages? And the pressure is going to be heavy
Yes.
on the political sector.
Yes,
And
yes.
sometimes that slow it down, sometimes that stopped it, sometimes
Yes.
that abort it.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's what I'm worrying about in the
Yes.
future when we go through.
So political finesse, political commitment, reaching out, compromise for the benefit of the whole. I would say ASEAN is a public good.
Yes,
That's
correct. correct.
good.
That
It's a
concept
public
is good.
Yes, yes. Rather than just our own, individual state, but as a whole, we should promote ASEAN as a public good. That sometime one country may lose some may win some. The next turn it be that country that will win more than the other.
That's right.
But when you average out,
We all win.
we all win. Yes.
And on the long term,
yes,
we
yes.
all fully win.
Yes, exactly. And I see that we talk a lot about the macro thing. When I talk to journalists, sometimes perhaps because they don't know enough the economic implication, and they only like to cover the big summit. But you know what I tell them? I say, you guys should focus also on a micro level.
Yes.
Because you see, ASEAN integration is great, it's big, but until it reach out to the life of the small Cambodian, the small Thai, the small
Yes.
Vietnamese, we are not successful.
After all, people
Yes.
matter.
Exactly. And I say, like, for example, the work of a junior official in immigration that spend so many time, so many meetings to agree on an sort of like ASEAN visa, for example, or no visa to travel, right? To the journalists, they don't want to cover. But I say, if you look at the economic effect, the fact that a Cambodian, woman can fly tomorrow, a young businessman, and go to Chatuchak market or go to Patunam and come back with full brief suitcase of nice jean, right? Wholesale price. She fly back, she distribute the local market. The effect is there, and you multiply 4 flight a day. The economic effect, is there.
That's right.
So you go to Bung Rat, you go to Bangkok Hospital, or you fly to Singapore. All these things adds up.
Yes.
Into employment, into economic prosperity, and at the end, that's how people can relate. Look, I'm flying tomorrow to Bangkok. Who cares? There's no visa. I'm flying. I got a phone call.
Yes.
See, business is there. And this is where I see the real gauge of success is that the people connectivity.
That's right.
Not just the political connectivity.
Right.
Yes,
It's the nuts
that's it.
and bolts.
That's it.
It's all the details
That's
that
it.
really matter.
That's it.
And when the people can able to connect,
Yes.
and I could use the word seamlessly.
Yes, yes.
When there is really no little hurdles, you have
Yes.
to cross over. It's easy,
Yes.
smooth as silk. If we put it that
Smooth
way.
as
So if you can do that, then you see
Yes.
tremendous opportunity out
Yeah.
there.
No, it's great. Well, Professor, look, we're running out of time. I hate it, this 30 minutes. It's hard to get started, but when you start, you're into it, and then it's over. But I'd like to give you a few minutes. What's your message, to not just to Cambodian, but to ASEAN as a whole? Because this program is broadcast worldwide.
I would really say this. This is a unique, opportune time
Yes.
for ASEAN people
Yes.
to be together like we never ever have been.
Yes.
This is the win 10 times
10
opportunity. It's opportunity that may not come back again if we
Yes.
put any hurdles there.
Exactly.
Let's understand this.
Yes.
Let's work together. Let's love one another. Let's
Yes.
care for one another. Let's
Yes.
be brothers. And let's
it.
move forward together.
That's it. Well, Professor, thank you so much on a short notice to come and to speak on a topic that we are not preparing at all. But I'm excited. I'm very optimistic, in the way the progress of ASEAN is going. Let's face it, ASEAN is more than an adult. Is a mature, grown-up. If a human being, we are late 40 already, right? So we should be quite mature in that sense. So on that note, I just want to say that I look forward to see a thriving ASEAN, ASEAN that can play a good central role, but an ASEAN that is inclusive, comprehensive, taking care of our own brother and sister in the region. So on that note, I'm very happy that you could come, and I hope that your next visit you will stop by again to the studio. Yes, yes.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of the show, but I am so happy that I have a glimpse from the perspective of not just a professor from Harvard University, but from a internationalist, a globalist, a multi-talented personality who have a very broad perspective on development, on the regional and global issue. And Professor Kriengsak Charanwongsak is such a person, and I'm so glad that on the last minute he come and share his wisdom in that short minute, 30 minutes show. So I hope you learned something out of it, and I hope whatever you learn you can put to good use. But the main message is that, you know, this is a historical opportunity for ASEAN. You know, the main challenge is how do we get the political finesse to work together, to compromise for the benefit of what I like to call the ASEAN public good, the good for all 10 countries. So on that note, good night.